Hey everyone, welcome to another Good e-Reader Roundtable discussion video. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Today we're going to talk about Blackberry versus Windows Phone. So I've been an unabashed Blackberry fan forever. I've had the original Blackberry Pearl, so this was a long time ago.
That was.
And I've pretty well had the Torch 2, the Blackberry Bold, and I've had a number of Blackberry 10 phones such as the Q10 and the Z10, and I've also played with the Z30 as well. So I've seen the original Blackberry operating system and I've seen Blackberry 10. Peter?
Right. I would say, other than Android, the one I've used the most is Windows, because when I switch phones a lot. So when I was kind of in between phones, of the ones I wanted at least, I came across a deal from my cell provider that gave me a free phone because I had all these points I didn't know about. It was the Nokia Lumia 520. It was a full Windows phone, and that's the first time I've seen Windows, and that's roughly around where it came out. From there, I liked Windows a lot, actually. It was a very, very surprising change from Android. And then I went to the Nokia Lumia 920 as kind of a bigger screen upgrade. I do definitely like them. I mean, it's new, it's fresh. Everything's, you don't get a home screen to kind of add things to. I mean, you can, but it all kind of looks the same. You've seen them. They're like the grid with the little cubes. I mean, you can't...
It almost looks like Windows 8 now with like the live
the Metro.
tiles.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you can't add things like widgets and wallpapers and stuff like that because you're stuck with the whole Metro interface where everything's just... we'll put some images up here so you know what I'm talking about. And you can move things around to a certain degree, but everything looks the same and nothing's really written out, so it won't say calculator and stuff like that. It'll be very image... It's very image heavy. I'm rambling though, but the device worked with almost flawlessly, nothing force closed, although side loading was almost impossible because you have to get everything from Windows. But the phone was a decent experience. It really was.
Well, I haven't been too much of a fan of Windows phones. Just basically, there's just been so many different operating systems of it. There was originally Windows Mobile, and then there was Mango, and now you have like Windows Phone 8.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing's like compatible with older phones. So if you had an older Windows Phone, you don't really have like any of the features that say came with Windows Mobile 8.1, which actually had their virtual assistant.
Yes.
What was it?
Cortana.
Yeah. So, you know, Windows Mobile's really grown up. Okay, so here's my take on BlackBerry. I love their older operating system. It was the operating system, I think BlackBerry 7, I think was what it was called for the longest time. I'm not a fan of BlackBerry 10, and this is the reason why. The older BlackBerry phones had BlackBerry Internet Service. And this was a service in which all emails and everything that you really did on your phone went through BlackBerry servers and then sent to their destination. So if I sent you an email, Peter, it wouldn't go just right from my phone to yours. It would go to the BlackBerry Internet Service and then sent to you.
That's what you were telling me when you got your Q10. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So the way that the older BlackBerry phones worked was that that's what it did. And so
like your Torch.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what it would happen is when it would hit the BlackBerry Internet Service, it would be compressed. So by the time it got sent out to you, the original email a message would be like compressed by half. Now with BlackBerry 10, BlackBerry has done away with their BlackBerry Internet Service, so it's done through the telephone carriers. So if I send you an email, it's direct from my phone, from whatever network I'm on, to directly your phone and whatever network you're on.
Right.
So when it comes to roaming, because we travel a lot with Good e-Reader, so when it comes to roaming, my data is way higher with BlackBerry 10 than it ever was with BlackBerry 7.
Going through more steps.
Exactly, because it's not being compressed anymore.
Right.
And it's not, you know, that's why when you get BlackBerry 10, you don't have dedicated BlackBerry plans anymore, which is when you had the older BlackBerry phones. And you wanted if you wanted a plan with your carrier, you had to actually get a BlackBerry data plan because the data service was actually going through BlackBerry and not the phone carriers. And what the phone carriers were saying was like, you know, sure, we do business with BlackBerry, but what do we get out of it? You know, BlackBerry was like, okay, well, what will happen is we'll just put everything through you guys, and then you can just charge your customers data. And then the family sharing plans came to fruition and things like that. So the elimination of the BlackBerry internet service has been one of the single most things I hate about BlackBerry 10, amongst other things. But I just think that BlackBerry 7 was so much more polished. I love my Bold. I love my Torch. I think they were like the best phones ever, like full touchscreen keyboard. I couldn't really ask for much more in life, but by today's standards, those phones are woefully slow.
No,
there's really no way that
supported.
you can, it's not being supported. It's like everything in the future is BlackBerry 10, and I lament it. Well,
you know, BlackBerry's always done one thing perfectly, physical keyboard.
Yeah.
You know, they stayed true to it even with the BlackBerry 10 devices. The Q10 and the Q5 both have physical keyboard.
Right.
And that's awesome because, as you guys probably seen our vids, I recently got downgraded to an LG Shine Plus because I'm kind of in between phones, and I love the keyboard. I love the physical keyboard, and I like that mix with Android at the top because it slides open. You get the full touchscreen, and you get the option of physical keyboard. BlackBerry's always done that really well.
I find it's... I grew up typing on keyboards, you know, I had a Commodore 64 when I was young, and I learned how to program in BASIC, and I'm just used to keyboards. And when BlackBerry came on the scene, it was like all their phones had like a physical keyboard, so I never made spelling mistakes. I always message you on my iPhone using the touchscreen, and it's like my messages now are shorter. I'm using more like
dumb English.
I'm making a lot of spelling mistakes, so I'll be like, meet me her, and I mean her.
And then you're like, damn it.
Here, you know, that I'm like,
and
curses.
then you mistake saying damn it, and you're like, I mean, well, to be fair, the iPhone 5 screen is very narrow.
Yeah.
And, you know, with just grown-up thumbs like us, I mean, it's kind of like 2 thumbs is the width of the entire screen, so you have to be pretty accurate on capacitive. Back to Windows, about a couple more things, is that out of the box, I noticed you're forced to use a lot of the things you don't like. And I just pulled up a picture here, and I was like, oh yeah, because Internet Explorer and Hotmail are the default programs for Mail and Explorer. You know, a web browser. I know a lot of people don't like those. So you can download other options from the Windows Store, but the Windows Store doesn't have a lot of choices in terms of apps, games, tools, accessibility, because it's so underdeveloped, and not a lot. I mean, everyone uses Android and Apple, so, and to a lesser extent BlackBerry. Windows came on the scene. They did all right. I mean, they had huge advertisement campaigns. Just about everyone, like from Nokia, HTC, you know, a couple other brands have a Windows OS on them. But yeah, you're forced to use a lot of things you don't need, and when you go into the store, you find that there's not a lot of options for you to get anything else because there's nothing there, and you can't sideload anything else. So there are a little bit of a downfall when you go with Windows. Yeah,
I think that now that you mentioned the store, the Windows Store and the BlackBerry Store actually have a lot in common. Because they have a very diminished market share in comparison to iOS and Android. Not a lot of people are devoting the resources of bringing their big name flagship apps to those two platforms because it just doesn't have the user base to warrant spending hundreds of thousands or $1 million for something where only 50,000 users will actually use.
Yeah.
So I think Windows is doing a smarter thing by adopting the Windows 8 mobile system.
Yes.
Where a lot of the Windows 8 apps that you would install on your PC are actually available now on your phone. So I find that that's good. With BlackBerry, their ecosystem with BlackBerry 10 has always been really woeful. The only redeeming factor is the enhanced Android emulator on the new BlackBerry 10.
That does change a lot.
It's a game changer because you could actually sideload in APK files, or you can even install our Good e-reader app store on it, and then in one click install Kindle, install Netflix, install Skype, and you can get all these apps that aren't available through the BlackBerry official store, but are available through our app store. And I mean, we created our app store just basically for this reason. It's for devices that you buy, and then you realize that, man, the default store is just so limiting.
Yes.
Or you'll have an Android tablet, and it's hey, there's no Google Play, there's not even an app store on here, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's well, here's an alternative. And I think that I think BlackBerry's lost its way, and I know a lot of people that have switched from BlackBerry after a decade to go to Android or to go to iOS.
Example one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you from when you had the Pearl, and then you come out with this iPhone. I'm like, what's going on? What's wrong? And then he expresses to me the problems with the email server and this and that, and I get it. I totally get where you're coming from, and yeah, it's a shame that it's gotten to the point where people have abandoned the loyalty of that brand.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was all about, like, you know, the BlackBerry Internet Service, you know, and physical keyboards, and it's just like, you know, the new version of BlackBerry 10, there's no reason to really have it, because if everything's just done through the carrier, I'd rather have, like, my iPhone where I could, like, pay for Starbucks lattes with the Starbucks app, you know, or have access to, like, you know, a greater array of, like, e-reading content, like Dig. You know, Dig is so popular forever. There's not even an app in BlackBerry world for Dig, you know, and, you know, things like that. So you've heard us, you know, talk about the merits of Windows Phone versus BlackBerry. What do you guys think? We've talked about a lot here, and we'd love to hear your guys' opinion on anything that we've talked about today, or if you'd like to throw in your 2 cents, and we'll address any questions or concerns or anything like that. So you've been listening to another Goody Reader Roundtable with Michael and Peter. Everybody take care.
We did this discussion because BlackBerry and Windows are very similar in the sense where they're kind of that not so popular kind of second choice, last resort type OSs that people go to instead of Android or Apple, because they just, like we said, they don't have the development. BlackBerry changed the game a little bit because they allowed Android APKs to be installed onto their device, whereas Windows, you still can't even sideload. So you guys make the decision. Let us know what you guys think, and if you have any more requests for roundtable discussions or whatever, let us know. GoodyReader.com.